It's going down like this, motherfucker.
Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was horn. Hump, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Say that, nigga. Shit. Bet the bar, off time. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog need. Slap Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves. For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying. This ain't loud enough. I'm still trying. I'm trying to tell you. I just left the light in this bitch. I'm fitting it. I just left the light in this bitch.
Fuck up. Move the fuck back. Fuck up. Move the fuck back.
Your feet. He looked down, seen his feet. The nigga went berserk. Killed the monkey. Threw the bat out the window. Start kicking that bitch in the air.
Say anyway, but I will. The way quantum entanglement works is that you can take two particles, quantum entangle them, and then take those two particles and move them at any distance in the cosmos. And let's just say, for example, if you quantum entangle two electrons and you have them spinning in the same direction, and then you take one of those electrons and you shoot that thing out 100,000 light years from the original. If you then rotate the spin on the one electron, if you modify it so that its spin changes, the quantum entangled electron at any distance will simultaneously in no time switch its rotation also, because they're quantum entangled. So these communication systems are taking advantage of this aspect of quantum mechanics that most people can't wrap their heads around, and this is what they're utilizing. It's just the new level of science that affords us the ability to communicate at any distance instantaneously.
You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. It's cool enough just being cool, like I am, chilling.
Group of you together, you never can tell who's who. Group of you together, you never can tell who's who. Group of you together, you never can tell who's who.
I've seen a lot of black guys, Nipsey, but you're overdoing it.
I mean, TikTok. I mean, TikTok. I mean, TikTok. A lot of the white content creators on TikTok get all of their dances from the black content creators.
You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. You're a philosopher? Yes. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
Ooh. All right, I think I'll come in on that because I don't have a lot of time. I tried to come on here and preach you the gospel today. I'm feeling it in my soul. I wanted to come on in and say a little something during the afternoon. I guess we can call this, this is the Big Eagle Hour, but I am Big Pontiac. I live on Big Eagle's Hill. And so that's why I call this the Big Eagle Hour, to give love to him on the land he once thought that was holy and his, and I give, love to it. I give love to him and his people. And so you know how I always start? I always start by saying what's up to everybody. Crazy Sarge. Think I wasn't too far into it. Crazy Sarge, thank you for joining. And I know you definitely have to have.
Got to have vision.
Johnny Oggs, thank you for joining. And I know you definitely have.
Got to have vision.
El Dragon Amaru Khan, thank you for joining. And I know you definitely have to have.
Got to have vision.
Probably warm already. And as most days, I'm smoking on this badass wax. I don't know if I got any in my little, because I got to get some more. A little bit left. I got more in this downstairs of legal wax. Now the shit is legal in this state. There we go. So me and the family have plans. We're taking my nephew to college on this weekend in North Dakota. So we're going to travel out of state. And tonight he wanted to get everybody together to bowl. But you guys know what I always start with. So I've got a pretty good routine and it really works. So I get up and eat something. I guess you call it, I drink a little bit of coffee, and I mean, it's like a little super mini cup of coffee. I guess that's how you're supposed to drink it. I guess a cup is like so much. Drink that, do my stretches, then I go out on the corner, because I broke the thing that holds my rope in the door. I broke that. So I throw it around the street sign, and I work with the rope with my hands. I do that. I only do about 5 minutes. I practice serving, practice backhanding, practice digging, and dinking. I kind of practice dinking. And that gets me, that gets me going. It's literally, there's two pickleball courts about 15 minutes away from me. But the best place to get competitive play in the morning is going out into the reservation in Prior Lake. And so, I go out there, and today I lost the first game. And I won 6 straight. I lost the first game, won 6 straight. How did I do that? I won 6, lost 1, won 7, lost 1, won 8. So I ended up going 8-3 today. And really, we had a chance. We did have a chance. I played with one guy. I played with a player that wasn't too bad. But my first game, I played with I'm trying to think. That might have been my second game I played with her, and we won. And her and I won. But the game is there. I'm moving good, getting great shots on people, getting good angles. The last game, it was like I would go one. Like the ball really goes back and forth really quick once you can see it, and once you get in shape. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom. And then like for the game winner, my last shot, I kind of knew she was gonna go to her. She was going to try to get the baseline kind of where I was at. So she hit it, and I followed on my paddle, and I caught it, and I got it right past her shoulder for the game winner. And I quit playing because I played good. Now, I could have got another hour in, but on the other hand, I was playing good. I hadn't really played since last Thursday because yesterday the weather was so crappy. So I thought, why not stop while I was playing good? So tomorrow. And then the young man Nick came back from Guatemala. What was it? They were down in Guatemala. What is it called? I can think of the city, but near a resort area where he said it was really beautiful. And what was interesting about how they build houses, check this out. So down there, Antigua, I think they were in Guatemala, and I think the city was near Antigua. I think he said he stayed in Antigua. So what's interesting is what he said is like what they do is they pour the foundation. They said then they build an individual a house. Now this is what was interesting that he said. He said when they build a person a house down there, they build it so the house can be moved. Because he says what people do is people will rent the plot. People will literally rent the plot. And once their lease is up, they'll take their house and put it on another plot, which is, I think that's kind of ingenious. That's kind of ingenious. And he said that's what they did. He said they built a house, a full house. I think, I don't know. I didn't ask him the details, but house is a house, a couple bedrooms and a kitchen, I imagine. But he said they built it in 4.5 days. He said he was down there in 7 and built it in 4.5 days. You need to do missionary work. And so that was interesting that the people will take their houses with them and just find land to rent. I think that's kind of brilliant. And it's like almost like what you would do with a trailer. But he said it was a type of plywood, basically what he said, but he was just saying, a good type of plywood. I think he said it costs $2,000, something like that. So again, it's down there in Guatemala at Antigua. And so that was positive. That was really positive to see him. And I didn't get to play with him because I left. I left a little sooner than he did, because he came a little later than I came. He said, check it out. He said he got back at 2 a.m. He said by 7 o'clock he was playing pickleball indoors. Here's a 17-year-old. He said he gets in from out of the country at 2 a.m. He gets at his house at 2, gets 4 or 5 hours of sleep, drives to his gym where he lives, because I think he lives in Lakeville. And then when he got down there, drive straight to Prior Lake, because he has just as far as drive I do. It probably still takes him a half hour to drive from Lakeville. Because he's a little further south, might even take him a little longer, because I technically live right off the road that goes out there. It takes me about a half hour, 28 minutes to drive. But it's interesting, he was still playing. So he didn't get out there until I had played 4 games. It was interesting. Most games are about 10 minutes. Most games are about 10 minutes. Thank you, Doai. That is very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. And I know you definitely have to have.
Got to have vision.
But thank you so much, Doai. I had to give you the Richard Pryor for that.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
You get to Richard Pryor for that. Thank you, Doeyes. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. And so that was just that young man's plight. Again, I didn't even look at the numbers, because I know it was like right at 2 hours when I stopped. It's right at 2 hours when I stopped. And so right now I've got, it's still jumping all around. It's still jumping all around, catching up. Okay, I burned almost 2,000 calories. I got 7,762 steps. I played almost 3 miles pickleball, 3.6 miles, so almost 3.5 miles. I always climb, where I live up, we got upstairs, downstairs, so I always climb. It says I've climbed 8 flights, which probably have. Want to see? Oh, thank you again. Thank you again. You definitely get to Richard Pryor.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
Now this is the one I like. Heart rate variability. And the other day I got my heart up to, and that's why when I'm in shape for this, and it was one of my longer games, but it's like I got my heart up to like 240, 250. So today, consistently got it up to 2. So yeah, you could see where consistently, I was making my heart was working stronger as my activity peaked, and that's what it is. That's what you try to get. And so that's why you want to work your heart every day. So my resting heart rate is 62. Yeah, my workout was right at 2 hours. It says I slept 9 hours. I don't know. It might have been 9 hours till I picked up the phone because, well, and it's funny about me compared to my girl. My girl is like, she is the hit the snooze alarm. I've never been that person. When I turn it on, when like it's time for me to get up, I just get up. When the alarm go off, I get up. First thing I do, I have a glass of water. You know, it's like this. You know, where you got the sugar guy working on it. You know, I just poured this, but you know, you let it sit for an hour, sugar guy to work on it. And then I get up and, you know, get ready. Get ready. Oh, here I go. Now, I was listening to people on Facebook talking about the differences between Europeans and brothers and sisters, American Indians, whatever you want to call yourself, melanated folks, on who uses a wash rag and who doesn't. Now, I would say this, all my children were taught to use wash rags, but my youngest son said he wouldn't wash his ass with his wash rag. He said use his hand. I'm like, dude, the wash rag is going to be way more effective washing your ass than your hand. Now, let me say this. It was an Indian dude out there, and I mean Indian from India. We was only melanated people out there. Brian the preacher, his wife too. She's from South America somewhere, but she left. But the preacher dude and this other friend of mine, I think they must just wear the same clothes to play pickleball. I know the preacher dude was wearing the same clothes last time I saw him. And because he has a 600 on the back. It's like 600. And I'm pretty sure this other dude. And these jokers, I mean, yeah, you know how you don't want to be rude, but you be like, you don't want, they like smell sour. You know when people like their skin smells sour and then their clothes smell sour? Now I'm telling you, one dude, I already know he's got money. He was talking about he was on the boat all weekend. He drives a brand new Escalade. But this dude smells like, and I'm telling you, the clothes he had on must be his pickleball clothes, and they just reeked. He reeked. I mean, more funk, not really ass reek, but more funk. And so was the preacher. They was both like ripe. So some of them dudes be coming in there. I don't know. It'd be like, I don't know. I don't know how you cannot wash up, at least wash up in the morning. Clean clothes. Clean clothes is a must when you work out. Now, I wear armbands and knee braces. Those have rubber in them, so they got to be washed what I do is every 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 times I wear. Because right now, I got to wear the brace here, and then I put a sleeve over that. And that seems to make me stop injuring my arm. I do it on both arms. And this one is a lot better, just my shoulder is weak. But I don't get how some cats stink. You know, I don't get that. I don't get how some cats stink. And I'm telling you, these dudes ain't poor dudes. They don't stink because they poor. And maybe it's a different mentality. I don't, maybe it's a different mentality for different people. But my clothes, especially my workout clothes, is going to be like, it's a new outfit. It ain't nothing I done wore. Unless I done just wore one of my pickleball pants and I'm walking around the house. And then I might wear it the next day. But if I didn't go nowhere and just wore it around the house, but I don't stink it and it is recently washed. So I don't get that. I don't get how dudes don't work out. I mean, don't change their clothes. So that kind of, I don't get that, y'all. I don't get that at all. Like, what is it with cats that not to wash their clothes? Like I heard one of the, this woman, I know, and this was years ago, she went with a dude and she said the dude never changed his clothes. He wore the same outfit. And I'm going to tell you what exactly he used to wear. It was Michigan. I had one. It was like a warm-up coat and it had 12 because that was Greasy's number, not Tom Brady. It was Greasy's number. So it was a Michigan zip up with a big Michigan here and it had Greasy's number 12 on the back. And I used to see this nigga on, that's all he wore. That is all he wore. And I remember hearing when she was with him, and that's what she used to say, is like, he don't hardly wear it. Like, 'cause the dude used to hoop with us, and I never, she said he smelled, but I never noticed, but he did, because his nickname was 12. His nickname was 12, and he wore that 12 Michigan jersey all the time. And so it's funny that she said he didn't change his clothes a lot. So I was like, well, you living with the dude when he sleep, change his clothes for him. Wash him. And I said this before. Let's see if I can get good light on them. These are my Moldavite pieces that I've collected over the years. And let's see if I can get this one. Maybe. See if I can get. Oh, there it is. There we go. This is 25 grams. And this used to be a necklace. It was a piece of silver that held it, but I didn't trust the silver. So. Oh. And this is the other piece. Whoops. And this is the piece I put in my pillow. You can put it under your bed if you feel it's too strong, but I said before, like, they call this the stones of change, but I think to me also what they do is these stones, again, I ain't trying to sell these. I'm not trying to sell these, but these stones help with neurons, and it is refreshing, because our brain is always refreshing itself. This helps with that. Like, I know when I get tongue tied, I see that it helps. And like, I know my girl, she gets a bunch of dreams and stuff, because I kind of keep it in my pillow, but like her side, like the corner that it lays in is in her side. And so also I want her to be exposed, because she's 51. I want her to be exposed to this every day for 6 to 8 hours. She's going to be exposed to this, helping her mind. Helping her mind, because that's what this can do. You can put it under your bed too. It's strong enough where if you just lay in its area, it will vibrate out to you. Because it's funny when it will make you dream, no doubt. This is definitely a dream stone. But the strongest thing is just what it will do for your memory, your recall. Because what you have to understand is, when people go through dementia, is they'll remember 30 years ago. They just can't remember what they just did. And that's the fight. Now, my girl and I have conversations, and we're like, I don't really remember people having that. Like in the 60s, I was born in 61, so, 8, 9 years old, I'm still vivid with the 60s. I'm still very vivid. Like, I can remember my first day, like my first haircut. I can remember the first time I bought Mountain Dew. That still was before my brother was born, so I had to be like Mountain Dew 65, because it's like my uncle, it's funny, and I didn't even think about this. My uncle must have rented out this barbershop, because there was a barbershop technically on his property. It was like my grandfather's house and my uncle's house, my great uncle's house. So this is my stepdad's father's brother. He lived in Chicago, but he had a cottage there in Cassopolis. And I can remember getting my hair cut. And I can remember seeing the first Mountain Dew commercials, and I can remember getting my first Mountain Dew. Because this barbershop had where you put in, the old kind where you put in it must have been it was probably a dime then. Dime or maybe even a nickel to get a Mountain Dew. It was a dime or a nickel. And you just put it in, and you had to open the door, and you pulled the bottle out, and, it dropped. And so I remember those times. And I remember, a lot of old people. As I said, I grew up with my great-grandfather didn't die till I was 19 or 20. He was 91. I was 19 or 20. I want to say maybe 19. So, I knew old people. I knew his brother. I knew my great-grandmother. I knew her sister. She had a sister that lived to be 99. My great aunt lived to be 99. And so I knew older folks, and I don't ever remember older people like happening to what's happened to people in the last 25, 30 years. You know, my grandmother, my father's mother, died of Alzheimer's, dementia, Alzheimer's. And then she started stroke. Well, then, you know, they had to start cutting off limbs, her ankle, I think, or her knee, because she kept having strokes. And right now, my aunt, my father is the twin. And my father and my aunt are both 80 years old. And my father is, you know, he's been suffering it. And, you know, I wish I had a better relationship with him and I could give him this type. That's why I gave my mother a chunk of this. Like, you know, every now and then you just hold this, just work with this, put this somewhere you won't lose it, where you can every now and then hold this and just concentrate with it. And this will help with the memory. And, you know, my mother's still kicking it. And so I am trying, but my point is I really don't remember 60s and 70s seeing a lot of people get this, not like we had today. And so, you know, when I look at my grandmother, my father, and my aunt, it's like I try to think of what is the common link that they all, because they lived in, well, my aunt and my grandmother lived in the same spot, but not my father. He moved around. My father wasn't ever in the military or nothing like that. So what were they exposed to? And you can't necessarily, well, just say the food, because young people have been exposed to the same food with them. Because my father, I think he's 11, 12 years older than his wife, my stepmother. And so I don't know the link, because she does not appear, again, her father lived into his 90s, and they made a documentary of him because he was still 90 years old on the farm, but up and down the ladders and shit. And so she, you know, her father didn't appear to go through it. And so what it makes me look at is what is the common thing? Again, we can't just go into the food, because young people are around them eating the same food that they eat. And so that's what I ponder with. And, you know, and one thing I did do is I did spiritually save my father. And I don't even know if that's the correct word. I saw him in the astral zone, and I saw a man fall in the astral zone, and I picked him up. And it was my father. And he looked and saw it was me, and he relaxed. He knew he was okay. So, you know, it looks like he's going to be okay and go to wherever, you know, he's supposed to go to when he times to move on. But it does seem like, so I just don't remember this happening until recently. Now, again, I have two kind of extended family members that are in their 90s right now. One, brother and sister, matter of fact. One retired at General Motors. Don't know what my cousin's wife, because one married my godmother. The other one married my cousin. I'll say it that way. And it's funny, I never figured out how, because with this woman, I have a cousin named Dicey, Dikey, and Doug. And I would see them over there, and it took me a long time to figure out who were they related to, because I didn't get that their mother and Mr. Atkinson were brother and sisters, but they're both doing well. The one, I think, is coming to see me get married in November, because his wife was just here. I took her back to the airport when my mother's birthday in February. So she said they're flying back for the wedding. So, and he's 89 and his sister's 91. So it's not everywhere. Now her husband, my cousin, I'd have to see what year he died. He was a fireman. He wasn't just a fireman, he was the chief. And if I said before, you know, it was funny when I would see him ride my bike, I'd wave at him because I knew him. He was my cousin. He waved back. But, you know, people, and this did make you brighter. This is one thing that did make you brighter, when you had to know the phone numbers. And the phone numbers were such a different thing than, you know, we nowhere near the area codes. And you had to remember, and you only really had to, in some instances, you only had to remember 4 numbers. Because we lived in Fireside. When I really learned how to use the phone, my aunt and where I lived was Fireside. So automatically 344. Automatically 344. It was like you didn't, unless they said they lived in another part of town, you automatically 344. If it was Fireside, that's what you actually would tell a person. When the person asked you a number, you would say Fireside. And you'd only have to give you'd only have to knew the 4 digits because you automatically knew it was 344. Now, if somebody said, I forget what the West Side where I end up moving, that was called something else too. And so that was 385. I think that was 385. But you know, it's like you knew your girl's number because you called her so many times. I know a story of a young lady. I dated her friend, and maybe that's why she would never date me. But when I wasn't with her friend, I was like, because I had classes with her, and her friend went to another school. But she didn't know. I would always ask her for a number, but then I thought about it. I always had her number because they lived next door to my aunt, and they had a basketball hoop. And so I remember her mother stopping me one day because I would go knock on the door to see if I could go shoot baskets in the back. And she gave me her mother gave me her number. She said, when you get over to your aunt's or you know you coming in town, just call. Just call over here and we'll tell you if you could play ball. And so I thought about that. It's like all the numbers, I really already had her number because her mother gave it to me. Because, you know, they knew me out next door. We knew, you know, and that is what's the change is everybody didn't know everybody. I mean, people moved in, people brought gifts. You were welcomed into the neighborhood. Now, I know, you know, you can see a lot of that racist stuff where people weren't welcome into certain neighborhoods, and even Bill Russell was treated terribly for just having the means. You know, again, you have the means, they want to penalize you because you have the means. I mean, study this state. This state it's still deeds in this state that says you can't sell to an Indian and you can't sell to a brother and sister. You couldn't sell to Jewish faith people. Couldn't sell to Oriental folks. There's some deeds around there still like that. So, read my soul. I still remember your house number. Yeah. I think I can still remember my mama's number. Where it was. Oh, thank you, Read My Soul.
You got to have vision.
Oh, Read My Soul. If you didn't catch my last show, I bought the GT Cut 2s. I bought those shoes. I'm gonna walk in them tonight. They're not broken in to play pickleball with. But my Jordan 37s to play pickleball with, I love them. And, you know, I play with the Vapor Next. The Vapor Next are better than the regular Vapor without the rubber on them. Yeah, they're better. Better than, what are these other ones called? Because I was about to get a pair, but I think my pair is better once I got to using it. What are they called right here? Yeah, these right. Zoom Vapor Pro. Yeah. The Nike React Vapor NXTs are better than the Zoom Vapor Pros. It's a better shoe. It's a better shoe. Now, the difference I've said before is the Viper Next, it's a smaller, a skinnier stance. And so the shoe is not built up as much. Where the Jordan 37s are kind of built up, but once your foot sinks in and they break in, and I know I watched one guy said about the Jordan 2s, he didn't like the Jordan 37s. He didn't like the material. They kind of rubbed. I haven't found that to be the case at all. I mean, once you break them in, the Viper Next, again, gives you a closer to court feeling. And that's cool, too. But there's a quickness of wearing basketball shoes that I feel, too, that I can get in the Jordans. And so both, you know, instead of just beating up, because I've always played in a couple pair of shoes, instead of beating up shoes, those two shoes tend to be holding up. And then the GT Cut 2s, once I walk in them 3 or 4 times, I'm going to try them and play on them. So, yeah, super comfortable, super comfortable. Now, I said this before. I tried for the first time the LeBron NXTs. Yeah, they weren't more comfortable than them GT Cuts. I tried those in the store, 2 different pairs of them. It was way too flat. I would buy another pair of Vipers before those. Now I haven't got a pair of regular LeBrons, and I really kind of want the gold ones. But now it's pickleball season, so I don't know if I'm gonna get there because I tend to want to buy another pair of pickleball shoes. And you know, I've always been a sneakerhead. You know, I go way back with sneakers. And I've told so many stories about sneakers, it's just ridiculous. Like my very first pair of sneakers were, let me get this right. Yeah, the first pair had to be Red Ball Jets. And there was a commercial, Red Ball Jets. Because I remember getting my Little Chicks. In Kalamazoo, Michigan, there's a store called Little Chicks. And I've talked about this before. And my daughter ended up getting shoes from Little Chicks. But Little Chicks was where I remember getting my walking shoes. And then when they, you know, because it was like they would give you almost like high top leather bottoms. I mean, these shoes were well made for children. They were leather little white shoes and they had leather soles. So it really was good to give you a good firm. And, you know, I was a toe walker. So, but, and then we went back to Little Chicks and the very first pair of gym shoes or sneakers was Red Ball Jets. Some Red Ball Jets. And I think in Pinterest, I've showed that before. Red Ball Jets. See if I can find my shoes things. Ooh. I might have some pictures of them. But Beta Bullets, and then my second pair was Beta Bullets because of I saw a Bill Russell commercial and Bill Russell wore Beta Bullets. Where did I put them? Where did I put all the shoes? Oh, it's more than this. All right. Yeah, here we go. All right. Here. Yeah, these are it. Somewhere I've got shoes. But yeah, these were it. Red Ball Jets. And they are made by, is it Goodyear? I think Goodyear. Goodyear owns these. I remember this kind, but mine were like this. Maybe red, though. Now I think about it, I think they were red. Where was the red pair? Yeah, they were like, they weren't this. I don't think they were this. Maybe. Now I look at them, maybe. Maybe they were this. Yep, probably more like this. Yep, more like this. Yeah, I was little. I probably got those shoes when I was 2 or 3. So yeah, they were that. Yep, excuse me for mistaking. They were this. I was 2 and I wore these. Maybe 3 though. Maybe 3 because we lived in Kalamazoo, so maybe 3. And then, see, the next shoes were called, let me see, Betas? I should have pictures of those. Let me look those up. The Beta Bullets. Bill Russell wore Betas. Where is all my shoes? Don't know where all my shoes are. I got a thing. Okay, here we go. Shit. Oh, maybe this is tilt. Oh, right here. Okay, this will start breaking down them. Where they all were. Are those it? No. Oh. Oh, you know, I can get lost into talking about shoes. No doubt. Oh, up here. There we go. All right, my all-time favorite cons were these. Shoes. Let me grab. I'm going to show you a picture of me wearing these. Oh. But to me, design, everything, these were my favorite pair. And let's see if I can find my picture of me wearing them without throwing everything away. And I can actually tell you every shoe I'm wearing in these pictures. So here we go. And this picture here, which they gave me my nickname in college, as you see, I'm wearing those shoes in that picture. This picture, I'm wearing Adidas Gazelles. And in this picture, I am wearing the black Cons with the red laces, the regular black Chuck Taylors. And so I've had a love affair with sneakers. I've had a love affair with sneakers. I still remember the first, you've been around since shoes was real. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Shoes had real materials. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, shoes definitely had real material back then. And this, now in 8th grade, I played in these. And these was almost like the Nate Archibalds. I love Pro Kids. And this was such a step up. I mean, people don't remember the step up this was from wearing Chuck Taylors. That's why the Chuck Taylors, those shoes I just showed you, started making them, because suede is leather, but this is suede and not nubuck. This is real suede. And that's what Pro Kids gave you. And I wore the high tops. Like if you got this color in red, you got that or red and blue, it would dye your socks. Like if you had white socks on, the shoes would get sweaty and it would actually dye your socks. It would dye your socks. But I mean, it was a step up in comfort. And so in junior high, I wore those. Junior high, I wore those. Are these betas? Trying to think where the beta bullets were. Are those betas? Them is red ball jets. Don't remember where the beta bullets were. Oh, and this is another brand that this is with another one. This one, all leather, high top version. This shoe right here. That shoe right there, that's a beautiful shoe. This is one of the stiffest ones they came out with when they came in all leather. I would dare say I would call this the David Thompson, because you can find David Thompson wore these at UNC. But I remember my uncle let me use this because they didn't sell these where I live. They didn't sell this particular shoe, this high top leather. And my uncle let me wear his. And I remember my first dunk as a freshman in the summer league. I dunked a pair of them. They was like, oh, they look like big boots, but they was really just hating because nobody else had these. I was the only one that hooped in that league that had these, but I love these too. Those were nice. I mean, that's a clean look. Just the silver star compared to like this. Like these are the Dr. J's. Well, this is what Isaiah Thomas wore. This is what Isaiah Thomas wore, trying to compete with the Nikes. Him and Magic and them end up wearing them. And I never liked these. They just didn't give you the support in here. They just did not give you the support in there. These would give you shin splints just as bad as wearing, they're all canvas ones. What time is it? Okay, I got to keep track of time because I'm about to go get my daughter in a minute. So, but I wanted to see the beta bullets. And I don't see a pair. Because I know I got a pair, but yeah, the beta bullets was my second pair. And now that you can get a red ball jet jersey. Now I didn't know about this. I did not know this. Check this out. Check this out. Let me see if I can. I don't remember this, but apparently I did not know that Sears had their own Converse brand. And the Sears Converse brand was called the Winner. They were built by Sears. I don't remember the shoe. I don't remember. I mean, I imagine I saw people wear them, but I don't remember. And then, you know, here we go. Still the Winner. This was a Converse built shoes sold exclusively at Sears. I don't remember this. So I don't know if some of y'all remember that or not, but I don't remember that. I had some Buster Browns too. I don't know where I put the Beta Bullets. I don't know where all that went. Oh. Yeah, I don't know where all that is. Oh well. Oh well, no big deal. But so I've always had love for shoes. We just had a ShoeCon here. What is this dude's name? He was here. I saw him at the Mall of America. Let me find if I can find his name. One of the dudes I subscribed to. Let me see if I can think of his name, because he was at the Mall of America. And he's a sneaker guy. Let me see if I can catch him. And he's a big sneaker guy. And so he was here. We had it at our Coliseum. We had it this weekend. So how long have I been going? Because I know I'm gonna have to pick my daughter up, but I got a little while longer I can go. So yeah, I can't find any. Let me see. All right. I got them. I know. I've seen them before. Oh, they're showing me fish. They're showing me fish. All right. Let's see. That should give it to me. Here they are. No betas though. No betas. Interesting. No betas. Oh well. No betas. Not a whole lot going up here today. Just checking in. So okay. Nike's first time that we could buy Nikes was my junior year. So that had to be class of 77. So that was 76. We started what they gave you is you could get the Nike shoes and they gave you the poster. But I tried them on the Blazers. It was I think it was the Blazer. It was the Moses Malone shoe. The Moses Malone shoe they talk about in the movie was the Blazer. But that's what's funny. I said this before in the Michael Jordan movie. If you looked in the back wall, they were saying they only had Moses Malone, but there was a poster of all the Nike dudes. I don't know if a lot of people saw that. There was a poster in the wall that they were talking about. They only had Moses Malone. But if you look behind them, there was a poster that you could get if you bought the shoes that came with everybody who wore Nikes. So it was 76 was the first time I started seeing them in stores. And everybody exchanged their shoes back. It's just like everybody exchanged them. So really, I exchanged a good pair of shoes and I got the Dr. J's. So instead of getting the Nikes, I got the Dr. J's and they was just as bad. They was just as, I had a good pair of shoes. I actually had a leather with mesh Pro-Ked. Super light, super comfortable. And I took them back because a little piece, you know how you could take stuff back. It'd be like, the shoe had some shit that, started to fray and shit. And so I got the Dr. J's and they sucked. And they I should have kept the other shoe. But some of my other teammates got the Pro-Keds. I know my friend Derek Dooley, because he had the George Gervin, because it was like that. I saw it. I remember seeing it in the box where it came with posters. You could get the Moses poster. You could get that team. That's what they gave you a lot. Maybe that's why I didn't do it, because maybe they was out of the Gerving. But it was 2 places I knew you could get them. Yeah. But they came with the poster. They came with the poster. You got the one with Gerv. But like we like, you know, when I say pro kids, hey, Nate Archibald. I mean, everybody want to wear pro kids like Nate Archibald. He had the blue ones, the blue suede. And then I wore the, I think it's called the Adidas All-Star. Or yeah, the one Kareem wore. The Kareem wore. I wore them as a freshman. Because I wore the Gazelles. I wore those blue Gazelles. And so blue Gazelles, I must have been that summer going in 8th. Maybe summer, yeah, going in 8th. No, I was younger than that when I wore them Gazelles. But I know with freshmen, I wore I think they were called the Adidas All-American, maybe the Kareem shoe though. Very light mesh. They were very nice shoes. Very nice shoes. And so, and then I didn't like I remember, and it's funny. When I moved to Michigan from North Carolina, one of my friends that I played high school basketball against, I remember I went over to his house and him and the dude was shooting craps together, and then that dude left and he's like, I got something to show you, man. I'm like, what? And he bust out a pair of Air Force Ones back in 85. It was the original pair. And he was excited. And it's like, I really thought Nikes was really flat in the foot. There were other shoes that I thought were so much better. And like I had a pair of I forget what model it was, but it was a pair of New Balance. It was like I didn't get the Air Force One because I got the worthy New Balance. And those shoes literally were like Skechers. They really formed to your foot. You felt they were a shoe you bought, and once you started wearing it, it formed to your foot. So that's why I didn't get the Air Force Ones. I didn't like the Air Force 2s. The Jordan 2s. I didn't like those. I really didn't care for them until I think the 9, 10s, 11, 12s, 13s. And my all-time favorite is the 11s. Yeah. So I didn't really care about them until then. Because when I got the 10s, the 9s and the 10s, they became, again, you had Shaq. When Shaq came out with that Hexalite, that was a great shoe. And then the Iverson came out, I think it was the Answers 2, had the Hexalite. Those were super comfortable. And they were more comfortable than what Nike offered at the time. But the 9 and 10s and the 11s was probably my favorite to play with. But so, sneaker dreams. There we go. I better text this girl because she'll text me when she's ready. Controlling buckhorn wheats with goats. Saving money at the state fair. No, that ain't it. That's nothing. This wasn't. Oh, here we go. No wonder some bullshit. Here we go. Yeah, it's some of the same shit. Yeah, so not a lot of crazy stuff going around here. Seems like everything is pretty much everything. All right, let's see what Carrie Levin says. And this is a little late for the news, but that's always good. It's always good. Your Iversons were the favorite. Yeah, I loved, like, what was the patent leathers? Was maybe the Iverson 3s? Because I can remember I was playing. Okay, let me answer my daughter's call. Leave. I knew my daughter would be calling me because she want a bowl. But yeah, Iverson 3s, them patent blue ones, those were so stiff. Because I remember I was playing in a Gus Macker, and I had paid, my teammate had a hookup getting them. One of my partners, we played semi-pro together. So I had saw him, and he said he could get them. So when we had a game somewhere, and he told me he could get them. So I gave him the bread, And then my cousin's husband, it's funny, I was closer to my cousin's husband than my cousin. But anyway, we was playing together, and he brought them, and he's like, he brought the box and everything. But I love those. The ones, the patent leather Iversons. Oh, I think those were the threes. I had the blue ones. Yeah. And I was so cool. I was this kind of guy. I was really this kind of guy. Like the reason why I never kept all those shoes, because I had dudes that like my best friend's dad. I bet the 20 years I lived in Michigan, he probably never bought a new pair of shoes. Because I remember I gave him them Shacks. Might end up even giving him those Iverson threes too. But it's like, if people needed shoes, I was the guy. I had a friend, Curdy. Curdy was like, I was like, I got some more clothes, Curdy. And he's like, just drop them off. I don't care what size. Just bring them to me. It's like, okay. He said, just drop them off at my mama's. You know, you can put them on the door or throw them inside the porch. But dudes all the time. I remember the Jordan 14s, whichever the ones that had the hologram. I remember those. And it's like, when they got too old, I just had them up. And my son came to me and he's like, so-and-so did a little jail time, Dad, and he don't have any clothes. So I gave him them Jordans. I mean, the original ones. Because they, after I played with them, I wasn't a big collector back then. It was like just buying new ones. So I've just gotten the habit of putting them in boxes. Because I would just throw the boxes away and go with them. I played in them so much. And I must be probably one of the group of dudes who walks around in hoop shoes. I'm really one of them dudes that walk around in hoop shoes. Most people don't walk around in hoop shoes. I walk around in hoop shoes. That's all I've ever liked wearing. I like hoop shoes more than I like gaiters. And so that's my preference, is to walk around in hoop shoes. I mean, if I'm walking around, that's what I'm walking around in. So, how long have I been going? Not quite an hour. That's okay. It doesn't seem like it's a lot going on in the Great White North. And I do need to go get my daughter. What is going on up here? Nope, that was yesterday. Ghost jobs. That's why I don't talk about, normal stuff, because it's like I don't get into the programming. I stay away from the programming. Like I said last night, it's not a matter of not caring, but I don't really. This is a city you can always find news in. Where to go? Right here. It's always shit happening down there. Oh, and I think I've showed them all. Yeah, I showed all these, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not a lot of news today. Oh, what's my other channel? So, yeah, it looks like it's a mild. Oh, here it goes. What's CBS talking about? And I don't think it's much different. And, I still have not been able to find that video again of them throwing them babies out the window. They throw 2 babies out the window and the police catch them. And I can't find that. They've taken that down. Oh, I guess it was another shooting. Yeah, it was another shooting. Okay. Guess it was another shooting. This is new to me. And this is my favorite news lady. There she goes. Let her tell it.
An overnight shooting on St. Paul's Raspberry Island has left a man dead. Police say they need help finding the shooter. Police were called out just after 9 o'clock last night. When officers arrived, they found one man who had been shot. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Police say preliminary investigation indicates a group of people had gathered at Raspberry Island when they got into some kind of fight and gunshots rang out. They're now looking to talk to anyone who was there and knows what happened.
Need people to call us. We know that there were several people on scene. The scene was described as chaotic as officers were arriving. We know that there's people out there that know what occurred, and we need them to call us.
Investigators are also working to gather evidence from that scene, including any surveillance video that might help them determine what happened.
Where was it in Jackie Brown where Robert De Niro kills the girl after they have sex and stuff? Doesn't he kill the girl? the Fonda daughter, the granddaughter, the Fonda, Bridget Fonda. I think he kills Bridget Fonda, and he tells Samuel Jackson, he's like, "Well, I had to kill so and so," and he's like, "You couldn't have talked to her? You couldn't have talked to him?" But apparently not. Apparently, you know, they have the mentality is that you don't talk things out, and then you don't have to stand face to face with a man anymore. It's the opposite. You know, you can murder your brother now. Now this is interesting. I'm gonna show this and tell my part of why I'm showing.
Well, it helps you.
Why I'm showing this. Because my shit is tinted all the way out. Now my car's not, but our truck is. Our truck is straight up.
Feel cool and some hope look cool too. Window tint on cars is a popular accessory, but many people are pushing the legal limit. That led Dale from Minneapolis, Shannon from Maple Grove, and Kayla from Fridley to wonder, what is the law when it comes to window tint in Minnesota? Good question. Jeff Wagner explains why drivers might need to study up on what's allowed.
Why do people come in wanting to have their windows tinted?
Most of the time it's for aesthetics.
Jeff Moravec is the owner at Mobile Installation Services in Brooklyn Park, where customers order window tint to improve their car's look. But that low-profile image also serves a functional purpose.
That does block out a fair amount of heat and light, giving you a little more comfortable ride as well.
Do you think there's confusion out there on how much tint is actually allowed on cars in our state?
I think there's some confusion. We get asked on every tint job that we provide what the legal limits are.
I think, you know, people are surprised. They don't know what the statutes are. They're confused what requirements are for a sedan versus an SUV or pickup truck.
The law differs by vehicle. For sedans, the front and rear windows are allowed a maximum of 50% tint, meaning 50% of light shines through. For SUVs, vans, and trucks, it's 50% on the front, but the back windows have no limit. The only universal rule is that no tint is allowed on front windshields. Is there a test for it?
Yes. Every trooper has a tint meter in their vehicle.
While it might not look like it, most new cars have a slight amount of window tint built in.
So right here on your front windows, you know, you're at 71%.
That means we have 71% of the light going through the window.
Correct.
Got it.
So now we'll test this one. Obviously a little bit darker. And now you're down to 26% of light being able to transmit through.
The windows on our work SUV passed the test.
And there's no limit on that.
But not this sedan outside Moravec's shop. It's only allowing 35% of light through the window. Which is technically lower than the amount that would be allowed for a sedan in Minnesota.
A prescription would allow you to have a tint this dark.
If you have eye or skin sensitivities,
and that's what we have. We have a prescription to have the tint.
Doctor's prescription can allow you to have tint beyond the legal limits, but if not, you could get a ticket.
If a person does insist that they are aware of what the law is and they still want to go darker, I mean, ultimately we're here to provide a service to that customer and give them what they want.
Lieutenant Robert Zach says the law is not in place to cramp your style, but for safety.
There's pedestrians walking across a sidewalk or a bicyclist, you might not see them where had you...
Come on, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's cap. Tint does not stop you. Again, you're doing tint on the side windows, so to come out on the street, you're not gonna miss anybody because they're tinted. So,
not had that dark window tint, you'd be able to see them a lot easier.
Yeah,
Jeff Wagner.
That's cap. That's cap. And again, they fucking with people for money, but now they're not fucking with people because they've quit stopping people. Well, y'all, I am gonna go. I just wanted to come on this afternoon. Good, I got an hour in, and that's okay too. Come in and give the people some high vibrations, some old stories, and some positive communications. Thank you, Doi, for your contributing to the the show. I appreciate it. You know, I don't ask for it, but I appreciate when people do. Thank you very, very much. And so, as always, on the Big Eagle Hour, I have to show Brennan because I make such pretty babies. And this is Brennan when he was a baby. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that cute baby. All my babies look like that. Just cute little babies. Cute little babies. All of them. Look like a little papoose. Look at Brennan. Look at him. And that's his mom's style. She do all the boys with their hats like that when they was little. Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, and I appreciate it, you know, to hear old man's stories of the pickleball exploits. But thank you for the positive energy back, you know, and the people that ask questions. I appreciate that. And I know the Beast, let me tell you, Beast, I ain't gonna sit here and cry and moan about what you do. Because when I was in Surly the other day, that surprised me. More people watch me than what you show and what I know. And so what is the odds in this big ass city of 3.5 million people that the server and the person working the shop know me? And I'm having more and more. Every time I go out to the Mall of America, someone stops me. I was out to the other mall, the Ridgedale Mall. Somebody stopped me that knew me. Yet you saying there ain't nobody watching. I know better. And it doesn't discourage me at all. Because I got a message to tell, and I'm going to tell it. Now I got to go, though. Thank you for joining in for this quick whiz. And this has been the Big Eagle Hour.